The voice of a passenger yesterday who was stuck on the ground at Pearson after a security alert on a flight from Toronto to Chicago. We know now that a 58-year-old American man has been charged with mischief after it was discovered by customs that he had a fake bomb in his luggage. To help us understand a little bit about how this works here, Cassandra Fultz joins us now. She's an immigration consultant here in Canada. Cassandra, I guess we'll start with the big question here. You heard the voice of that frustrated passenger being concerned about a 7-hour delay. I don't know enough about these things to know if that is excessive or not. I mean, from the perspective of law enforcement and customs, what's an appropriate turnaround time after an incident like this?
Well, that's a good question. And the answer is that nothing is considered excessive as long as the passengers are kept safe. That is the priority for all security officers everywhere. And they're going to do whatever is necessary to make sure that that remains the situation.
Cassandra, what's in store for this guy who thought it was a good idea to pack a mock IED into his checked luggage? We know he's been charged with mischief. What chances does he ever have to be able to, travel freely again?
I would say that his chances are probably going to be slim to nil for traveling freely again. He will definitely end up being inadmissible to Canada, and obviously he can't be inadmissible to the United States. He's a United States citizen, but I doubt that he would be admissible to any other countries.
And when you say that, you mean like he'd be put on a no-fly list of sorts?
I would definitely expect him to be on a no-fly list, but when people are charged with crimes either inside Canada and then they leave Canada, or they're charged with crimes outside Canada, they become what's considered criminally inadmissible, and that means that if they try to enter Canada again, they need special permission to do so.
What about, Cassandra, if there was, and I admit I'm stretching a bit here, what if there was a valid reason for him to be carrying this? Is there any defense of either valid reason or misunderstanding after a situation like this?
Well, that will be determined in criminal court. So I can't imagine what would be a valid reason to carry a mock improvised explosive device. I can't imagine what that reason would be, but that's something that the court will decide.
And even if, for instance, if the court acquits him or he's given a conditional discharge of some kind, which is always likely. I mean, I'm not sure we're going to throw this guy behind bars. What will that mean for his travel then? If he's acquitted or given a discharge, what happens to his travel restrictions?
He can still be considered criminally inadmissible.
Interesting.
Because you do not need to be convicted to actually be inadmissible to a country. If a CBSA officer believes that you have committed a crime, then you can still be considered inadmissible. IRPA provides a wide berth for discretion when applying the law. So if an officer, even if you haven't been charged or you have not been convicted, if an officer believes that you are a danger to Canada, they can still deny you entry to Canada.
And I mean, Cassandra, in your experience and expertise on this, have you ever heard of a situation like this before? Because I got to admit, this was a first for me.
No, this is a first for me too. But the thing is, we've spoken before about security and crossing the U.S. border. And when people are flying from Canada to the United States, it's the same as crossing the border. You clear U.S. customs in the airport, and when you do that, you need to be mindful of security. And the whole, this incident is part and parcel of that same issue, which is that security is a very real concern for U.S. border officials and for CBSA. And that they're doing everything possible to keep all of the travelers safe.
When we talk about the frustration of the passengers, Cassandra, what about that point? I mean, what should they have been told? Were they treated, based on your understanding, appropriately given the circumstances?
It sounds to me like they were, and that security was the primary concern here. Of course, the airline doesn't want its passengers inconvenienced. Of course, government travel authorities don't want people to not fly through Canada, so they don't want travelers to be inconvenienced. But the primary objective here is to keep people safe.
Cassandra, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Cassandra Fultz, Canadian immigration consultant.